Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host, David Streggy, and tonight I have another review for you. I can't help it. I was an 80s child, so I'm going back to 1989 with a film directed by Louis um, Llosa um, with Concord and Empire Pictures. This 1989 futuristic sci-fi film was executively produced by Roger Corman and had an associate producer credit to David Carradine, who also stars at it as the character by the name of Jason. In a distant future where all crime has been eliminated, years after a plague almost wiped out the planet, the only civilized state of Salai, run by a fact government of soldiers bent on controlling its citizens in either its regime or the House of Pleasure. Helen is an entertainer where you can buy only 15 minutes of sexual pleasure and bone a recently unemployed young man from Huber Nation Gardens, a cryo chamber factory, and an ex-gang member of the fuck-ups are about to meet under desperate guise of getting out of Salai and into Frodan. Creon is the leader of the fuck-ups, and I have to take a moment here. The fuck-ups was a cool name for a game. I don't care what you say. It was corny, but I loved it. And I used to own this on VHS when I used to own tons of VHS. And also a friend of Bone, but each clash over Bone's chosen new romance, forbidden by the law to love or cause crime. Helen, who is played by Sheridan Fenn, who's very beautiful. She's blonde, short-haired. I actually like her build. She's very sexy, and I had a crush on her when I was younger. So, Helen and Bone are given a promise to be helped out of this shithole if they steal information on a small disk of Fraudan, supposedly to Jason, who was played by David Carradine, as I said before. A man, they soon learn, is a recruiter of criminals in a state of none to cause havoc. On the run, Helen and Bone must commit more crimes for their mysterious provider, as it seems Jason has intent to invent crime once again in a game of cat and mouse. Also, to create matters worse, Creon is invited in on the premise he will also get what he wants if he's willing to do anything to do it. Now, throughout the film, Bone had a friend named Alexei, who ended up being a pilot before the plague. While being chased by Jason and a group of vigilante soldiers of Soleil, they hatched a plan to steal a copter and make their own way to Fraudan. But they didn't take into effect that the information they stole in their first robbery was that they were all the victims of a plague created to scare them into that fascist existence that they were escaping from to begin with. That Fraudan was destroyed years ago, and the radiation was the cause of this so-called plague zone. Now, I know this was at the tail end of the corny 80s sci-fi films of its time, but all this time I remembered David Carradine's role. On the one hand, he seemed like the good guy, but on the other hand, he was capable of evil as he played the devil's advocate to this Bonnie and Clyde type couple. It's enjoyable to a point and an oddball situation where nothing was what it seemed. Anyone who is a fan of science fiction action 80s of this time period would enjoy the nostalgia of watching a blonde Sherilyn Fenn in this post-apocalyptic controlled world. So I hope that you enjoyed my description of this film. I definitely recommend this for you sci-fi action fans out there. And this is one of my favorite 80s films. I would have to say. Brings me back to when I actually did own VHS, and I really hope that this does get released one day on either DVD or Blu-ray. I wouldn't mind if a company actually picked this up. I thought it was relatively a cool sci-fi action flick. I mean, it had an interesting, you know, interesting philosophy in it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters involved in it, and definitely one of those crazy 80 films that it came out in spools of corniness. So definitely check the film out if you have not. It's actually fairly hard to find. It's not really on anything really, except for VHS. And possibly Laserdisc, but I haven't checked into that. But definitely a film to check out if you have not. Thanks for listening. I appreciate the traffic, and have a great day, evening, and morning wherever you are located. In any case, thank you so much.